We will be moving into getting a head start on your ERP deployment, especially specifically looking at Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Supply Chain Management. Today we have Jeremy Sentner joining us. Thank you so much for being here, Jeremy. Jeremy is a solution architect on our team, focusing in on has a lot of industry knowledge, of course, on manufacturing distribution companies, and focuses on Microsoft Dynamics 365 ERP. We're glad that he can be here today to share a little bit more about what HeadSTART is. I'll let him take it away.
Hey folks, Jeremy Sentner here down in Florida. And as Michael kind of introed me, I'm a pre-sales architect here at Sikich. Spent better part of my career implementing Dynamics solutions from an ERP and CRM perspective. The latter half of my career more focused on supply chain, distribution, and kind of how Dynamics 365 can help companies in those spaces. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Sikich's HeadSTART program, and that is something that we use to deploy Dynamics 365 along with other industry solutions. And it's kind of wrapped into one overall program that we label as HeadSTART. So what it really is it's our approach to accelerating value, industry, business solutions to companies and implementing ERP, CRM solutions with a really specific focus in two very specific verticals. So with that being said, HeadSTART is a lot of things, and so I'll try and do a good job of explaining kind of what all it encompasses. And from there, if we have questions, I'm happy to dig in. So what it includes is our implementation methodology, And I'll get into that a little bit later on how we implement the solution, how we get value to our clients faster, quicker, get that value add in your ERP implementation, your solution. And part of that methodology is built into our pre-configured environment, our pre-configured system. So we've taken Dynamics 365 Finance and Supply Chain, taken our architects and actually pre-configured the ERP solution to account for industry requirements, things we've seen on projects, best practices, things like that. So our clients are actually getting a pre-configured Dynamics solution when they start their project with us. And what this does is it gets people's hands on the solution right out of the gate. It gets people more knowledgeable on making decisions as their project progresses. It helps people see the value and how the system functions to make those intelligent decisions on how to configure the system, what makes us more efficient, what makes the most sense for us to implement. Those pre-configurations come with the next bullet that you see there, which is our documented business process library. This is an automated electronic business process library that has various process flows, various tasks that are performed within the ERP solution, all mapped out with recordings and guided tutorials so that people know how to learn how to use Dynamics 365 and again, make those informed decisions on how they want their system and their business to function. On top of all of these methodology, on top of pre-configured systems, on top of the documented business processes that have been audited by our CPA firm as well as by Microsoft, you have industry extensions and apps. So for distributors and for manufacturers, they have specific requirements that the ERP may not fully account for. There may be niche items, niche requirements for these types of businesses that we may need to have an extension, an ISV, a Power App, for example, as Jesse and Debbie alluded to earlier, some of those ancillary type products that sit and communicate with Dynamics 365. We have all of these things pre-configured, and they're more of a plug and play type application because we've done them so many times throughout our implementations. So again, we have core ISVs that we've identified. We have core extensions and core Power Apps and different applications that we've configured and enabled so that our clients can take advantage of those things right out of the gate. On top of that, we've also built in, on top of Power BI, we have our own business intelligence wrapper. So things that we've seen our clients need or things that we've seen in the industry that people need, we've built business intelligence into the system. It is integrated, is embedded into Dynamics 365. So you have those insights, those KPIs, and those metrics available to you within the ERP so that you can make actionable insights and decisions on how to proceed with your business. And then on top of that, of course, we have our project templates that help expedite implementations. They help keep everything categorized, organized, and on the same plane. So at a high level, that is kind of what HeadSTART encompasses. And I'm going to dig into a little bit each of those areas as we go through today's presentation. So I just wanted to kind of highlight what some of those things are before we dig into the details. The next slide is what our approach is. So this is part of our implementation methodology that I mentioned earlier. So typical implementations follow the waterfall methodology, that the shape that looks kind of like a house on the left-hand side of the screen there is your typical ERP deployment. You have a very long analysis design phase where you're building out a prototype, and then you're doing some testing, kind of making adjustments off of that testing. But there's a lot of time invested in this front end of this process. As part of HeadSTART, we come together with all of these project configurations, all of these system configurations completed already based on best practices within the industry. So what we can do is, out of the gate, we can have our clients, along with our consultants and our architects, using a live system right out of the gate. We have configurations built in, we have some data that we import, and so the system is looking and feeling somewhat like it would for them when they're live. Now, what's nice about this is, again, we have all of those process flows, we have the guided tutorials, we have all of these best practices mapped out so that we can walk through this with our clients, understand, does it work for them, does it not, where do we need to revise, where do we need to adjust, but really focusing on more of those value add type of activities. What are the big pain points? What are the different reporting and analytic metrics you need? What is the best way to get us live in a constricted time frame, and also include all the functionality that we need? So this is just our approach to how we do the implementation, and it typically drives value through the beginning all the way through the end of the project, and also drives down some of the investment funds that are required by our clients. Moving on to the next one. So what makes this approach different? Well, again, I just talked about it a little bit with, we come with a pre-configured environment. We come with enhancements. We come with applications that are all tied in and integrated into the overall ERP platform that allows us to hit the ground running on our implementations. So what does some of this include? Well, we've defined over 4,000 different business processes by module, and how we've set those up, how you transact in those modules, and how you analyze those transactions. We've had our CPA firm audit and confirm all of our business processes within the solution. We've also enabled and enhanced the automated acceptance testing that goes along with Dynamics 365. So when you're taking on new updates, adding new functionality, configuring new functionality, we can have automatic testing running in the background based on the framework, and really lets us focus on the exceptions or the issues rather than everything that flushes out successfully. We can really focus on the issues. A couple of other things that you'll see here, 1,900 plus enhanced pre-configurations. That number is growing almost daily. We are constantly doing continuous improvement. We are adding to the solution. We are adding new Power BI analytics. We are adding new configurations. We are ingesting all of Microsoft's new releases and embedding that as part of our HeadSTART solution, so you can take advantage of all those new pieces of functionality that are enabled. So some of the things that are beneficial to you as an end user or as a client of Sikich in utilizing HeadSTART. Well, you have all of your available configurations that have been done with Azure DevOps, kind of the backbone or the brain behind the configurations. You've got your LCS, or Lifecycle Services Business Process Library, that captures all your business processes, the best practices, who's responsible for what. We have test cases, automated testing for regression testing, and continuous updates acceptance. But really, where we see a big improvement for our projects is the people that are on the client side are able to understand what they're configuring, what the configurations mean, how the system flows from beginning to end, rather than trying to piecemeal it together from the beginning of the project to the end of the project. You're getting a very good working example to, again, adjust and revise to your business, so you're not reinventing the wheel and changing and adjusting things that don't need to be changed or adjusted. So again, this is just our way of deploying Dynamics 365 along with ISV solutions, along with Power BI analytics, and any of the other Power Platform features that you'd want to leverage. And then lastly, I'd give you a quick overview of kind of the areas that have been configured. So depending on which flavor of HeadSTART that you would be moving forward with, you would get different things. So there's one specific more for supply chain and distribution management, and there's one that's more focused on manufacturers. So at a high level, this is a good representation that you're getting pre-configurations of various modules. So from the financial essentials perspective, you're getting all of your system administration, your security, your organization administration, all your legal entity setup, your general ledger chart of accounts, cash and bank management, accounts payable and receivable. And then from a supply chain perspective, we've got the WMS, or the warehouse management solution, pre-configured. We've got purchasing, sales, master planning, product setup, inventory, and then production if you were a manufacturer. So again, we've kind of thought of the different areas and segments of business within these two kind of pillars or these verticals. And we've really dissected what means the most to our clients in these spaces, what do they need to deploy successfully, and how can we get them to that value of being live and taking advantage of all these great features as soon as possible.